So, welcome to the study guide video. And today we are going to be doing the study guide. So, for question one, we have a right triangle, and this is triangle DEF. So, we have a right triangle, and this is triangle DEF. And we know the sides for this one is 8.1, 7, and 4. So, in order to do this problem, we need to know an acronym called SOHCAHTOA. And this is something that you should have on your notes. So, this first one, so means it's for the sine and is opposite over hypotenuse. So it's sine for S, opposite over hypotenuse. For ka, it's cosine because it's C, and it's adjacent over hypotenuse. And for toa, it's tangent, and it's opposite over adjacent. So we can now go back to this problem. So for question one, it asks, what is tan angle D? And tan is for tangent, so we know it's opposite over adjacent. And so the angle is the so the side opposite to angle D is this side, which is 7, over the adjacent, which is 4. The reason why it's 4 is because this is the side that's adjacent. This side is not adjacent because it's the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is the one that's opposite the right angle. So this side would be adjacent. So it's 7 over 4. For question 2, we have sine of angle D. And sine, if we look here, it's the opposite over the hypotenuse. So if we go here, the opposite, which is 7, over the hypotenuse, which is 8.1, because it's opposite of the right angle. For question 3, we have what is cos angle D? And we know it's adjacent over hypotenuse. So if we look here, this side is adjacent to this angle, so it's 4 over the hypotenuse, which is 8.1. And these are our answers. And we don't simplify these. These are ratios, so we don't simplify. So now we have problem number 4. And okay, so for problem number 4, we have cos 42 degrees equals 0.743. And it asks, what is the sine of the complement of that angle? So complementary angles add up to 90 degrees. So we would do 90 minus 42, and we get 48 degrees. So we want sine 48 degrees. And if we recall the acronym SOHCAHTOA, we know for sine it would be opposite over hypotenuse. But we already know the angle, so we don't need to do any solving. So you need a calculator for this, and so you would just put sine, and you would make sure that your calculator is in degree mode. So make sure your calculator degree mode, or else it will not work if it's in radian mode. So we do sine 48, and when we type that into our calculator, we get 0.743. So obviously for this problem, we don't need this. We just type this into our calculator. So now we have problem number 5. And we have triangle LJK. And it's another right triangle. So that means we can use SOHCAHTOA. And we have this side equal to 8.5. We have this angle equal to 20 degrees. And for problem number 5, we want to know what is side LK. So we want to know this side. So the first thing we would do is we would recognize that we already have two of the angles. This is right angle, so that's 90 degrees. And we know that all the angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So first thing we would do is we would we would do 180 minus this angle, 20 minus 90. And because all three angles add up to 180, once we do this, we will be able to find angle L. So you can type this into your calculator. And we would get 70 degrees. So this here would be 70 degrees. And once we know that, we can solve this triangle, solve the side. Actually, you wouldn't need this angle, but you can have it right now. You don't really need to do this. But so we know that, so we have this is the angle we have. And we have this side, and we want to know this side. So this side is opposite, and this is the hypotenuse. If we look over here, opposite hypotenuse would be sine. So we use sine, the degree measure, which is 20, equals the opposite, which we don't know. So that would be x over the hypotenuse, which is this side, which is opposite the right angle, which is 8.5. So in order to solve this, we would multiply both sides times 8.5, and so this would cancel out. So x would equal, and you would take this into your calculator, make sure that your calculator is in degree mode. So we do sine 20 times 8.5. And when we type this into a calculator, we get 2.9. And so this side would equal, oh my god, that was too big. So this side would equal 2.9. For question 6, I'm just going to write it up here again so we can see. And you can write this whenever you have like on like any like test or homework you have, just write it here at the top so you can look at it. So for question 6, we want to know what is side JK, and JK would be this side right here. And so let's just use this angle we already know. Again, you do not need to know this angle. I don't know why I solved for that. You don't need to know this angle. So you don't need to do any of this. I don't know why I did that. So we want to know this side. So we have this angle and we have this side. You could also use this side, but I'm just going to use this side. You can use any side you want, as long as you just use the appropriate ratio. So I'm just going to do the, so we have hypotenuse and we need to know adjacent. So if we use this angle, using this angle, we have opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. If you use this angle, it would be different, but we're not using this angle right now. So we want to know this side, and so we know adjacent over hypotenuse. We could also do adjacent and opposite, which would be tangent, but for now, we're just going to use this side. So we're going to do adjacent, which is x because we don't know it, over hypotenuse. And this would be the ka. Oh, I forgot the angle measure. So we would do, since this would be adjacent over hypotenuse, we would do cos 20 because that's the angle we're using, and adjacent, which is x, over hypotenuse, which is 8.5. Solve this, we would multiply both sides times 8.5, and that would give us our x value, which is cos 20 times 8.5. Make sure that you have parentheses, and that would equal that would equal 7.995. Okay. So now we have questions 7 and 8. So we have another right triangle here. So we have a right angle, and our triangle is called NOM. And we know it's given that this side is 5 and this side is 11. And so we want to know the measure of angle N, which is this angle right here. So in order to solve this, we would again want the acronym here. And now we would solve for angle N. So we want this angle here, and we know the opposite, and we know the adjacent. So Opposite, adjacent, opposite, adjacent would be tangent. So we would do tan. And if we want to know angle measures, so we solving for angle, we would use inverse. Sine, cos, or tangent. And on the calculator, it looks like sine -1, cos -1, or tan -1. Oh, so we would do tan inverse because we want the angle. We want the angle. So we would do inverse tan, and we would put, so it's opposite over adjacent. So we'll do the opposite angle, which is 5, over the adjacent angle. Actually, you know what? That's not adjacent. That's hypotenuse. Okay. It would not be tangent. I don't know why I did that. It is not tangent. So it would not be tangent. It would be opposite hypotenuse, which is sine. So it would be inverse sine and opposite over hypotenuse. This is adjacent. This is hypotenuse. And this is opposite. If we want to go in. I don't know why I said opposite. I don't know. Okay, so opposite over hypotenuse, we would get, if we do inverse sine, because again, we're solving for the angle, 5 over 11, we would get the angle measure, which is 27 degrees. So this is 27 degrees. Now we want angle O. Now this is a lot easier because all we need to do is just, because we know two angle measures, we would just do 180 because we know, hold on, what just happened? 180 minus the two angle measures we already know, which is 90 and 27, because we know that all angles in a triangle add up to 180. We would put this into our calculator and we would get a measure of 63 degrees. And that would be, wait. I need another page. So for problem number 9, we have triangle PQR, and this is another right triangle, so we can use SOHCAHTOA. This is 90 degrees. So with PQR, this does not look like 90 degrees. And we know 45 degrees is this angle, and 45 degrees is this angle. We know that this side is 12. So we want to know both of the side lengths. So in order to do this, we would pick one of the angles. So let's just pick this angle. Let's just pick this angle. So we're using angle R, and if we do that, this would be opposite. This would be hypotenuse because it's opposite of the right angle, and this would be adjacent. And so let's solve for this side right now. So to solve for this side, we would need the opposite, and we already have the hypotenuse. And if we recall the acronym SOHCAHTOA, the opposite over hypotenuse would be this one side. So we would do sine, the angle measure 45 equals the opposite side to that, which is x, because we don't know it. over the hypotenuse, which is opposite the 90 degrees, which is 12. In order to solve this, we would multiply both sides times 12. This would cancel out, so we would get x equals, we would put this into a calculator, sine 45 times 12. If we do that, we would get 8, oh my god, we would get 8.48. And so, or we can 49, I guess. That's the same thing. 8.49 as this side. Now we want to know this side, so we would do adjacent hypotenuse, and we know that would be this one. So we would do cos 45 equals the adjacent, which is 12. Nope, that is incorrect. Adjacent, which we don't know, because this is hypotenuse, this is adjacent. So we would do adjacent over the hypotenuse, which is 12. Now you can also do opposite over adjacent, which is tangent. I'm just going to do this one. So we can do times 12 times 12, and we get x equals cos 45 times 12. So we get 8.49, which is the same exact thing. I know this triangle is kind of bad. Okay. So for problem number 10, we have another right triangle. We have triangle TSU. And we have 30, well, 60 degrees, yeah, 30 degrees, and this side, which would be equal to 8 root 30. Now, notice that this is, and this would be right. This is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. This is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And in a 30, 60, 90 triangle, this is a special right triangle. This long side okay, I'm sorry. This, the hypotenuse, so this is the short leg. This 60, 90 side is the short leg, and we're just going to call this X. The long leg is this leg, and this is the short leg times the square root of 3. And this side is the hypotenuse, which is 2 times x. So we know that x is 8 root 3. And we want to know both of the sides. So let's start with this side right here. So it would just be 8 root 3 times 2, which would be equal to 16 root 3. And that would be equal to TU. For this side, we would do x, which is 8 root 3, times root 3, and that would be equal to 8 times square root of 3 times square root of 3 equals 324. 20, oh my god, what's happening? 24. And that is the first page of the study guide.